Hi there, you've probably forgotten about us.
Yeah, it's about goddamn time.
That's right. Welcome to another edition of...
Motherfucker, we're back.
On backdoorradio.com. No, it's not. I've forgotten what the web address is. www.bdrrocksonline.
I feel like there's an old age joke in there somewhere. .com.
Yeah!
He doesn't know how to work the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
What's it, internet?
When I was born, we lit the room with candles.
Transmit LOL cats. Wait, did you say when you were born?
Were you the one that slapped the flanks of the horse at Paul Revere Road to tell the British were coming?
Oh! Yeah. I knew Paul Revere personally. And,
speaking of, it's about goddamn time.
Yes.
Dude,
come on. Don't be so hard on him.
We've had a month off, and he's still 4 shows behind.
he's still a month behind.
He just finished doing the last Maiden install.
Dude, we can't really be too hard on him, though, because he's British. Which means we have to be really hard on him.
I mean, he could at least, send an email that says, I'm still getting to it. Hey,
He's too busy going to the bar and getting some of that hot British. I'm sorry, I can't finish that because it's funny.
What?
I was saying, he's too busy going to the bar and trying to get some hot British food at him. But and that's just funny because all British women have penises and, they're not really hot.
Unless they're from Liverpool.
Man.
What?
No, I'm just throwing this
So
village
the only
out there.
village you know.
It takes a village,
Lancaster.
Actually, no, wait, I forgot. It's not the British women have penises, it's that the British men have vaginas.
Oh.
And British women have penises.
I need to go to Britain then.
Significant others in their purse.
Okay, gotcha.
I've seen some smoking hot British. I mean, my favorite British woman of all time is Sarah Jane Hamilton.
Why you gotta
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who doesn't know who she is.
She introduced the squirt genre to porn.
Oh dear God!
she's also 5'6" and redhead.
You just have a thing for
Dude, pull up the picture. See, now I'm curious.
Oh, okay, I'll show you what she looks like. She's just smoking hot.
I am...
She was only
5'6" is tall for a lady.
5'6" is not tall. 5'6" is average. 5'5", 5'6".
Oh, with all the steroids and the
Pearl
beef,
Harbor?
I guess now.
What do you mean our Pearl Harbor, dude? Pearl Harbor was ours.
I'm 5'3", so I just know I'm short.
Like Pearl Harbor happened to be... What, because it was in Hawaii? It doesn't count?
I didn't think you're short.
I think I'm quite short.
You too.
I do. That's why I like to wear heels. They make me feel like I'm normal.
You feel like you're able to see
I was about to say, that picture looked like it was back in Thursday.
the counter in the kitchen then?
Well, I can already do that.
She's just, She's retired, man. She doesn't do it anymore.
She doesn't do it anymore?
She was only here for 4 or 5 years.
Maybe. Like she goes...
Indeed.
She
goes to her boyfriend and goes, would you like to see me squirt? I'll do it for free. I'm being rather irreverent.
So who's on the chopping block for Chat of the Week?
Yeah.
And or month?
There was a news article earlier this week. Vampire arrested after she bit wheelchair-bound man outside of a vacant Hooters restaurant.
Wait, what?
A self-proclaimed vampire attacked an elderly wheelchair-bound man outside Florida Hooters restaurant just before midnight on Thursday, leaving him bloodied and in need of stitches. Milton Ellis, 69, had fallen asleep on the porch of the deserted Hooters in St. Petersburg when he woke up to find Josephine Rebecca Smith, 22, on top of him. Smith told Ellis she was a vampire and then proceeded to bite him, tearing off chunks of his face and part of his lip.
Ow! What the fuck is wrong with this
Bitch
chick?
crazy!
You should look at her picture.
Oh dear God.
Tell me that doesn't require medication and Thorazine.
That requires like a drip of some kind straight into the vein.
And I'm sorry, vampires is an urban myth.
What's that woman's
You know
What did I do?
Josephine Rebecca Smith.
No, you know what you need to do? Like, take a bitch ass and throw her out in the sunlight and be like, who's a vampire now? It's like,
Police found Smith on the bloodstained Hooters porch, half naked. She was covered in Ellis's blood and said she didn't remember anything about the attack. Bullshit.
With a picture like that, my ass, you knew what you were doing. Crazy bitch.
Ellis was hospitalized, given stitches, and expected to recover. Smith was arrested and jailed on charges of aggravated battery on an elderly person, with a bail set at $50,000. I'm just going, okay, there's a The whole thing about the myth of vampires happened is that they didn't realize, because in the Middle Ages they were ignorant, that when you buried someone, their body actually shrank a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like your hair and your nails grew. And because of internal gases, it causes small ruptures. So when the blood hasn't solidified yet, like come out your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, oh, he rose from the dead and feasted on somebody. Let's put a stake in his heart. That's how it started. Now it's turned into a lifestyle. And I look at it as like modern primitives where they do all the piercings and shit. And I'm just going, I welcome individuality. I welcome independence. I welcome free thinking. But when you look like a fucking moron, I don't want nothing to do with you. It's almost the same thing as that we were talking about this earlier, is that if you ever notice in every job application you ever...
equal opportunity employer.
Not so much that, is that if there's a job description online, it'll say, must be able to communicate expertly or well, when generally when you find out that if you get the job, you're going to work for somebody who can communicate less as well than you can. They fucking talk like an idiot, like conversate.
I see nothing wrong with that.
Poems I had wrote.
Oh, ow. So why'd you bring that back? I had forgotten.
So you come to find out that the person you work for, that you report to, is a dumbass.
Right.
And you're smarter than that person, but you're the underling. But when you try to impress based on your communication, you're either looked as a fucking snobby know-it-all, or nobody understands you because everybody else thinks like a dumbass. And so you lose advancement or you lose the job.
They all got diarrhea on the brain.
So I kind of look at
either.
certain job applications as false advertising. Must be able to communicate.
Yeah, but how do you look on a job application when you apply and they're like, you just need to be not retarded?
There's a fine line.
Yeah, I was about to say, actually, there's a lot of them that are clinically retarded, I'm sure.
Well, these days, as the employer, you probably get a lot of warm bodies that have 80-some-odd IQ.
I like them cold, actually. Come on, really? That's all I got from that?
A little chilled.
There we go. All right. About to say, that one deserved more than a...
With a little bit of Chianti.
Also, I thought it was interesting that
I'd like to get freezer burn on my dick.
You can actually buy South Park Cheesy Poofs.
Wait, what?
You can buy, Eric Cartman can't get enough Cheesy Poofs. Now South Park fans can get their hands on them too, thanks to a joint effort between Comedy Central and Frito-Lay.
Okay, that's pretty awesome.
Cheesy Poofs. Cheesy Poofs.
I kind of really like that.
And there's a nature
Just
chat.
because. Well, real quick, I find it hilarious that you just, I guess, alienated. What? I don't know if we'd ever have any, 40-year-old soccer moms, but you totally just alienated them by telling them that Twilight is not real.
Wait, it's not? Since when?
If you're a 40-year-old soccer mom and a fan of Twilight,
They're out there.
Pull up your pants.
you're fucking morons.
I mean,
Especially the ones that...
Look, all I'm going to say is this, guys. Hang on.
you're
I'm already bashing on the Brits. We can't just be bashing on it, because our listener base is literally going to be like 4 people. And that's going to be us.
But they'll be the smart ones.
I'm just saying, look, I got Britain, so, you know what I'm
Don't
saying?
get me wrong. Yes, I am a Star Wars nerd. I'm a sci-fi nerd. But that shit happened when I was a kid.
what?
Star Wars.
Oh.
So, it's my...
No, it happened a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Stop lying.
So it's a connection to my youth. Okay?
No, it's a connection to another goddamn galaxy. Do you not read?
I mean, come on, look at your NASCAR fans. If they started out as kids. NASCAR's been around a while. So if you find, one of our mutual friends has been a fan for years, he collects certain paraphernalia of NASCAR. Comic books, the same thing. Usually you get into comic books as a kid, and it sticks with you. Twilight's only been around last, 6 years? And you 40?
Well, these bitches eat it up like it's candy.
Because it's basically softcore teenage porn.
Dude, I understand it's ridiculous. I agree. I just thought it was hilarious. You were just like, BTW, vampires aren't real.
The bitch thought she was Lestat.
No.
What the fuck?
No, dude.
On.
Me and you were going to have a conversation off air. We're going to conversate off air about this whole vampires not being real.
Look, zombies is more likely.
And
Singing sparkles.
you tell me ghosts aren't real, and I'll say otherwise.
But no, the other thing I wanted, you need to
Yes,
tell radio
release
listening.
your-
I don't believe in something that's actually described as ghost. I do believe there's something that could be fit the same description,
Ethereal.
but I don't think that word is correct.
Yeah, well,
Did you see the South
what
Park movie, Funny
apparition,
Ghost
call it
Hunters?
whatever you want, but that's pretty scary stuff sometimes.
Oh, we're saving that for next month.
Yeah,
I know.
Saving it for next month.
Wait,
Yeah, well, that's just
Time
that's
Next
promoing.
I know, right?
That's
What are we saying
promoting
before?
the Halloween show.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Ghost stories.
Ghost
Oh,
stories.
we actually do a couple shows with
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I thought it was-
Because Halloween rocks. I don't know why Eric
my
is not into
fridge is
Halloween
looking
this year.
Yeah, how the fuck is Halloween gonna be on a goddamn Monday?
Really?
Yeah, 31st is on Monday.
Ridiculous.
31st is Monday.
Yeah, and see,
What?
they
Ain't
get
that
some
some
party all night long
bullshit?
and then have Tuesday off.
But no,
Yeah,
Analog
weird.
Kid, I did want you to explain to Radio Listening Land the poems I had wrote the
Oh.
story because they never heard it.
Why do you keep bringing this up? Like,
Because
no,
Radio
this is a
Listening
dark
Land
time for
needs to
me.
hear it. Well, then go out the room.
Just
We'll call you back eventually.
no.
He's gonna go cry
Okay,
now.
one of my kids, the pseudo kids, got into honors English her 9th grade year.
Honors English.
Honors English.
Honors
Ninth
English.
grade.
Preach it, brother.
And about 3 weeks after she was accepted into honors English,
10 ideas.
she created a Facebook page
Mm-hmm.
called Poems I Had Wrote.
Lord, no. Oh.
And I almost had an embolism. But what made it worse is that her older sister thought that the title of the page was structurally correct. So I didn't know what was worse, the fact that somebody didn't
Think
write it out
going up to-
correctly,
Yeah.
or the other sheep that thought it was right. So I said it's one of two titles. Plus, she also didn't understand why I was like, you're supposed to underline the title. Why do I have to underline the title? Titles are underlined.
Ow.
Did you have an embolism over it?
I literally had an embolism over it because it was starting to give me a migraine. So I said it's one of two titles.
aneurysm.
It hurts.
It's either poems I had written or poems I have written.
Or poems that have been written by me.
So, by I.
Oh God! No, I'm doing it.
Poems by me. So she and I are
Me,
going
I
back
have
and
written
forth.
poems.
She and I are going back and forth. No, it's right. No, it's not. It's not correct.
All your poems are belong to me.
So I mean, I almost had that old. It used to be a stick. It used to be funny when I was a kid. I don't know how old this is, but it's I is a student. I don't know how long it's been around, but it was funny as hell when I was in high school. We actually had little buttons or little bumper stickers. I is a student.
Pie are round, cornbread are square.
What?
Something like that.
Yeah, there's a joke that goes,
Oh, I thought you were just doing old man ramblings.
What's the
No.
square root of 69?
Oh.
68 no you one?
It's 8 something.
Uh,
But mathematically, it's literally 8 point so on.
It's
So,
eight
but it's 8 something. Do you know how many times I've had to explain that joke? It's a nerd math joke, and nobody gets it.
Exactly, nobody gets it.
8 something.
Shamrock shakes.
Okay.
I'm Casey Miller.
He's in a best mode.
He's totally gay.
It just annoyed me. I'm actually literally realizing that English is becoming Latin. It's dying. It annoys me.
No,
You
it's
mean
evolving.
proper English is done.
It's evolving.
My
I'm
ass.
sorry. I
evolving,
do
really.
judge
Yeah.
you on your grammar.
Like for instance, if you write in text English, you're not going to get the job.
Dude, I actually had a teacher in high school.
Or, please.
English teacher in high school, when we were writing a paper, it was one of the first songs. She said, "I don't want to see any text, like text speak in these papers." I'm sitting there going, "Who the fuck does that?" But apparently, it's more common than I thought.
Well, have you guys seen Beavis and Butthead to America?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the guy says, "You remember those kids that were whacking off in the tool shed?"
Yeah.
He goes,
Never
"Well,
end with a
you're an
preposition."
FBI agent, never end your sentences in a preposition." I started laughing my ass off because when he said that, and then when he actually made the sentence correct, but it sounded backwards.
Yeah.
So I'm the only one laughing.
Oh no, dude, that shit was funny as
It was
hell.
It was
funny
so
as hell.
funny.
Plus,
Kids
the fact
were
that Robert
cracking up
Stack
words
was
in
in
the
that
tool shed.
film.
Who was?
Robert Stack played the FBI agent.
Oh.
Plus, also Bruce Willis.
Bruce
He
Willis.
played Muddy Waters.
Who?
Or Muddy Grimes.
Who?
The criminal.
Who played?
Bruce Willis.
Oh,
Played Muddy Grimes.
Bruce Willis.
How are you not going to pay attention to him talking about Bruce Willis? Come on, Fred.
Willis.
I'm sorry, it just annoys me. When I was growing up, especially when I was a teenager, the adults were always bitching about our slang. So when we were around adults, we used proper English.
Right.
When we were around our friends, we kind of relaxed a little bit with it. Now it's to the point where they're speaking in such a language, I have no idea what the fuck they're saying.
Well, that's, when...
You could be calling you a twat and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
I don't think, the other thing too though is, maybe I just had a natural, being drawn to understanding English grammar, but it helps so much. Like when I started learning German, my 101 professors actually couldn't believe that I had never studied German before because of how well I had adapted to, and I'm like, and they loved the fact that I actually understood the grammar of the language. And I'm like, well, if you...
Do they interrupt you? See how I work that in right there?
Did you notice that you don't interrupt me as much?
Were you interrupted by
the stuffs?
When what?
When we're not doing the stuff, he doesn't interrupt me as much.
Well, because it's not as fun when we're not doing anything that you're
Because you
mainly
take
talking
that
about.
very seriously, and he sees that, and he tries to inject...
No, I'm just being a dick for the sake of being a dick. Like, see
Oh.
what I
Yeah,
did right there? I just interrupted you.
Yeah.
If you look at the English language, one of the reasons why it's difficult to learn as a second language is inflection, the sarcasm, and the slang. Not the actual structure of the sentence. It's the
Right.
inflection. For example,
Structure of my ass.
I have two
perfect.
kids with special needs. They don't understand sarcasm. They literally take me seriously. It's the same principle with people who are first learning the English language as a second language, is that half the time they don't realize somebody's being sarcastic. Because of the way that the English has a passion behind it that a lot of people have to really work at picking up on because of the way you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
In about, maybe say 100 years in history books, they're going to talk about the old English language, just like we talk about the old Romantic languages and Germanic languages. They're going to be talking about the old English languages, and it's going to be referred to as the
Archaic.
Yeah, it's going to be I wanted to say something along the lines of, it would be referred to as the retarded language, because they'd be like, oh, who speaks that way? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's I listened to an audiobook series called Deathlands, originally done by James Axel. It's a wonderful series. It's kind of like Mad Max meets the ultimate apocalypse. And they have a time traveler named Dr. Tanner. It was a science experiment. He was trawled from the 1850s into the 21st century. And he was educated in Britain, and he talks the old Victorian language.
Yeah.
So one of the characters says, do the people from your time always talk like that? And he goes, only the educated ones. So, if you look at it, the language has evolved. Back in the 1850s, it's very eloquent to speak, and you took your time talking. It was almost like eating. You took your time to enjoy the conversation.
I would
in
imagine
150 years, we edited it to where we got to get our thought out now.
Well, if you look at everything around language, everything we do is speeding up, so the language is accompanying the speeding up of everything else, because now, of course, if you're in the South, they take their time and talk like that.
They still sound like retards.
No, see, I've gone beyond the point where I thought that, because I used to think so. Well, in some cases, just like anywhere else, people are stupid. But people are stupid all over the world. But, it depends. And people are smart in different places. But, I think because society itself everything is going on right now and everything's fast, and you can get your news when you want it, you can get this when you want it, you can get that with the smartphones, you can get everything at the tip of your fingers.
I need to check the news.
Exactly. And so, and we can sit there and multitask, and so the language, as a result, is getting changed. That or to be able to get your point across faster, you shorthand.
Right. Change, I don't mind, but destroying the grammar, that's where I draw the line.
Well, it's with German. there's formal German, or High German, which is what you actually learn in the States when you study German in a lot of places. I don't know, maybe there's some place that teaches you the everyday language, but I mean, like, even on, like, the Umform, you can actually select if you want German or if you want the formal version of German. So, and my thing is I can understand it, but it's like, and this is exactly how I feel about the way the text speak and all that shit. I understand it, but not really. Like, I kind of get what they're trying to say, but it is like another language. Like, it's hard to, because it doesn't follow the same rules as if it's regular
Is it similar
English
as a regional thing? Like, up north it's pop, down here it's Coke or soda?
No, it's like, from a grammatical standpoint, like, which past tense you use. In formal German, there is a sentence structure that's specific for when you're writing it, and then there's a sentence structure that's specific to when you're speaking it. And with the non-formal German, it's the speaking version of the past tense that you actually use when you write. And that messes me up because I'm so used to it being either, well, if I'm writing it, well, then I use this conjugation of the verb as opposed to this, sentence structure.
Well, the sentence structure when it comes to the Britons, when they refer to the telly. Are they talking about the phone or the fucking television?
Well, you can, and in English, if
Both.
I were...
There's a call for you on the telly.
Yeah. No, but if I were...
The television's trying to talk to me.
Yes, it
on the
is.
telly.
But if I was writing a book, I'd speak one way, and if I'm talking to you, I'd speak another then, And so... But you're saying that basically, as an entirety, that people are using shortcuts in English that they didn't used to, and that's what you don't like?
No, it's the shortcuts I don't mind. It's
well, because
that's why we have
grammar suffers.
Well, no, that's why we have contractions. Cannot to can't. That's shorthand.
Right.
But when you sit there and say, I am an educated person and I write a sentence, poems I had wrote, I just want to backhand you because you're lying. You're not educated.
Can we stop bringing that up? That just hurts every time.
Not in
you're lazy as fuck.
Well, I'll put it this way: there are some people who would write that, and then they can turn around and do complex algebra in their head. So they're
Einstein couldn't do basic math.
Well, okay.
Edison couldn't tie his own shoes.
Okay, but I'm saying there are some people
geniuses.
Right, but there are some people whose forte isn't English. It's math or science.
I'm sorry. If you were born in this country or in Maryhill, England, you should get an A just for showing up for English class. You speak the language. Speak it correctly. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
And I learned a lot. I think a lot of my education in that regard, other than in school, was watching. And here's where I'll agree with your pet peeve, because I grew up watching some of the masters at communicating in the media back then, in the old days before there was light, were people like Walter Cronkite, Edward R. Murrow, people like that, who knew how to use the English language perfectly and communicated very well. So I grew up watching that. And now, on not only local but national news, instead of saying male suspect or the man did such and such or whatever, it's the guy, and I'm like, what in the fuck is that? That is an abomination. You are a broadcaster. You are supposed to use the English language properly, and if nobody else does, who gives a fuck? But that's your fucking job, is to use the English language properly. So in that sense, that proceeds when someone who doesn't know the English language as well as they should is watching the news. They're supposed to get proper speech, and what they get is that instead.
Well, it also goes with politics. How can you sit there if you can't understand the English language properly? How are you going to make an informed decision on how you're going to vote if you can't even understand the person you're voting for because they're speaking proper English and you're a dumbass?
Yeah, they're speaking proper English while they're actually thinking of complete different ways.
I understand that. I'm just using that without the whole...
Yeah, let's not bring up politics, because you're right.
Please. That's why I went.
If you're going to go to school to learn to write, or learn to...
if you go to journalism class, you're supposed to learn how to write, and these fucking idiots are going, the guy, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Well, that's the problem, is because You mentioned, the expediting information, the ability to get information, the ability to check the news. A lot of people they're trying to, instead of making the general public, adapt to seeing or hearing or both on the television, proper English. They're so desperate for people to watch TV that they're actually lowering their standards to meet the people in order to get them to. And that's where the problem lies. Is they're so hungry for attention and for money and for viewers that, as opposed to sticking to their guns and actually doing something that's perhaps morally sound, they just are like, oh, well, then we'll compromise. We'll lower ourselves to meet you.
And that's one of the reasons why we have so many goddamn conspiracy theorists.
But I will say this. When I was in broadcasting school in the 70s, we had to do our own newscast. I know. Right? We had to write up our own newscasts and weathers and things like that. Well, the reason I'm telling you this is
Tesla invented the radio, damn it.
There's a word that I used in the newscast, and when I was being critiqued by this guy that was an anchorman in St. Louis on the he was a news anchor.
So you say you're being critiqued.
He was critiquing what I wrote, and what he said was, and I can't remember the word I used, but he said, no, instead of that, use this because you don't want to basically be way up here over your audience. And I said, oh, so I'm supposed to talk to them like they're in the third grade.
Yes.
And he said, no, that's not what I mean, but that's exactly what and this was back in the 70s when they were saying, no. And my opinion, like for instance, doing the venture that we're doing right now, I'm going to speak in a manner that I think is appropriate, and if somebody doesn't understand it, they can go get a fucking dictionary.
What's a fucking dictionary? Like, does it teach you about the different positions? Or?
Yeah,
there was a study that Google's actually shortened the attention span and the education level of a lot of people because if somebody can't remember how to spell a word, they just Google it.
Shiny.
So it kills the short attention span.
I would really like to argue with that, but I can't because I do it.
You were just doing it.
I have four thesauruses and I have 3 dictionaries. And I look at them.
Well, see, now, if I don't know how to spell a word or I'm not familiar with a word, I will go to dictionary.com and look it up and educate myself.
Well, I do too.
I'm sorry, I would educate myself.
Right.
Educate.
And then
I would use my brain muscle.
So that you can conversate properly. You educate yourself so you can conversate.
I'll give you something sad. You know how I had a hard time when I was in elementary school remembering how to spell muscle correctly. And
well, there's 2 different ways to spell.
I used to have to do it phonetically.
Oh,
the
food and the actual
actual muscles.
Yeah.
I had to do it phonetically. At the time when I was a kid, there was a toy that came out called Muscles. And they were like these little pink. At first they were pink, and then they started doing multicolors of little wrestlers. One was Muscle Man.
Little pink.
I really thought you were going to say there was a toy called Speak and Spell, and I was like, shit.
Muscle stood for million of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere. That's how I used to remember.
Oh,
that's how I used because we would have to write it out, and we weren't allowed to have dictionaries at our desk.
Right.
Whenever we did tests, and I'm like, okay, so I'd have to seriously remember spell it out phonetically. I was like, okay, millions of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere. Okay, and that's how I started remembering certain things. I had to take summer school of geometry because I failed it the first time I took it in high school, and the teacher I had was great. I wish there was more teachers like this, where he would teach to memorization through association. He had a brother-in-law that passed the bar with a perfect score through that method. He actually was literally called a cheater by the bar because nobody ever got it right. And so he actually took the test in front of them, orally, and he remembered it phonetically. Wow. So it's very useful. That's how I was able to teach my 2 kids certain things to remember when it comes to going to bed. Where they brush their teeth and get their PJs on, they have to take their shower and everything. I had to actually play a phonetic association game to get them to remember without actually having to walk behind them every day. So I don't care how you learn, as long as you learn.
Right.
But if you're going to speak to me,
yes,
sound like you A, know what you're talking about, and B, use proper grammar. That's all I ask.
And pull up your pants.
And pull up your pants.
And then also too, since we've talked about the television, the news, the things like that.
Indeed.
Bringing it back to music, I'm all for artistic expression, but there are some fucking stupid lyrics out there. I mean, there's been that way for years, but just
I'm glad
especially
you brought this
recently.
up.
Decades.
I
I'm
mean,
glad
just
you brought this up.
One of the biggest things. One of the biggest things that upset me the most was when it was an Iced Earth album that came out.
Well, you came in from the other room just to tell us.
Yes, I did. This is very important. And I can't,
Let's go get more coffee.
It was something Wicked Part 1, and I was curious what the lyrics were, so I went and looked them up. And this one. So we come full circle.
Well done, lady.
But anyways, so I'm looking up the lyrics, and they're interruptions. See, I just something important was being talked about. I just had to. So I'm looking at the lyrics, and like I'm looking at this, I'm like, dude, this is fucking stupid. Like, what is this? And it was then I realized like the lyrics were actually in the booklet, which not a lot of fans do anymore. And I'm reading them, and I'm like, the lyrics that are actually sung, that were written for the song, are intelligent. They are awesome. They are great. They are fantastic. The lyrics up there, they're like retarded, and I'm just like, dude, what?
That's one of the reasons why I don't listen to hip hop.
Oh, hip hop lyrics are just stupid.
They're dumb.
Ass cheeks on my
I got $50,000 thrown out the back of a van.
Plus, I can't take an artist seriously if his name is 50 Cent. It's 50 cents.
Right.
50 cents.
Not with him, it's not.
Exactly. So I can't even take him seriously because his name is incorrect.
But is it pronounced 50 or is it pronounced 50?
50.
Well,
Yeah, I just want to go.
Hey, if he and if he and Puff Daddy went on tour, it'd be Fitty and
Puff Daddy.
and it'd be Fitty and Diddy.
Christ.
It'd be Fitty and Diddy, right?
Hey, what about Biggie?
He's dead.
Oh.
But
Biggie ain't
Tupac
dead.
is
Shut up.
not.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
Tupac
somewhere.
is hunting water buffalo with JFK out in Africa somewhere.
At Jimmy Hoffa's house.
At Jimmy Hoffa's house.
Well, no, I mean, I was listening to a couple bands trying to expand our library for when we finally throw music up here shortly here in a couple months.
Hells yeah.
Or so.
Coming to
And I found a prog rock band called the Pineapple Thief.
Wait, what's it called?
The Pineapple Thief.
Well,
Okay, I thought I misheard you.
Well, Georgiana Peach is allergic to that band.
Yes.
I would imagine.
They did one
Really?
concept album. Yeah, she's
Poor-
allergic to pineapple. And so every once in a while I try to get pineapple on my teeth.
I bet she punches you in the mouth.
Yeah, she tries. Sometimes I try to do it when she's not looking, and she's like, "Why is my lip itchy? You son of a bitch."
I'm glad she's not deathly allergic to it.
No, she just breaks out in this horrible itchy, hidey rash. Yeah,
And you,
That's hot. Oh, sorry.
that's ridiculous. You are ridiculous.
it's not gonna kill her. So anyway, the band's called the Pineapple Thief. I listened to the 8 Days EP.
Exactly.
And the 8 Days EP was great. It was a concept album. Oh, I loved it. It was actually a pretty decent album. The
Did you
rest
make
of the
one
shit
cut?
sucked.
Oh, that's why you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, the music was
Friday?
phenomenal. I liked it. But when the guy started singing, first of all, the lyrics were dumb. And second of all, I didn't think he was a great fit for the music. So it got me to the point where Kansas, same thing. Fucking,
Oh yeah, they have
Triumph,
2 songs.
oh my god.
They have
So
2 songs.
Saga sucks. So
I wouldn't even
most
listen
of
to
your
them.
prog rock bands started out in Canada.
Right.
And the king of prog rock is Rush. Because there's no other band that comes close to the progressive rock that they play.
I don't know.
Nobody.
I don't know about that.
Nobody.
I am actually a prog rock fan.
You're a prog rock band?
Yeah,
Okay.
me.
What's
by
your
myself.
name?
Let me get back to you on that.
Okay.
No, that's the name of it. Let me get back to you on that.
But it was also, in similar vein, I can't stand it when a band, a lot of times it's hit and miss with me when they change their sound. Queensryche was great up until Empire.
It used to be the Must.
And then they changed their sound. Promised Land was actually, I liked about 4 or 5 songs off of Promised Land, but after that, hated everything they released. Mind Crime 2 should not have been released. I'm sorry. I like the fact that let's bring it back because Mind Crime was a great album, but when they decided part 2, I'm just going, really?
Well, that's like Metallica's new album where they put out the Unforgiven 3. They just did it so that people would be like, oh, the new Unforgiven track, let me go see it. Dude, that song has no meaning to
I want to
any of
gouge
those.
out my ears with a 3-pronged fork every time I hear Metallica after the Black Album.
I
Well, I have a
my
question.
fucking one-pronged gig.
What?
What are you talking about?
I like Justice, and then after that, it depends.
There's a couple songs off Black Album I like. There's a couple songs off of Load and Reload, but as a album,
Right.
it's Puppets.
Right.
Puppets is the best Metallica album.
Hell yeah, dude. Dude,
Yeah, no,
Puppets.
I gotta agree with that.
And then
Puppets
there's only,
makes me want to just.
and then there's only one song of Justice I hate, and that's the instrumental of "To Live Is to Die."
Oh, fuck you! I love that song.
I love that.
I hate the fact that what's the last track off that album? Dear Mother, Dear Father.
Dear Mother, Dear Father.
Oh, what is that song?
What is this? How you put me through? Believer, Deceiver. Where's my Dyer's Eve?
Yes.
Yes.
I hate the fact that never got any radio play. That is a balls to the wall, fucking great ass song.
Killer D would tell you the same thing.
And I thought that the way the album ended with that song was great.
Ask a question.
I'm sorry, my monitor screen's in the way, so I keep speaking.
So.
Interruption! I'm gonna interrupt you now.
So. So we have this wonderful.
It's not so funny when the shoe's on the other motherfucking foot now, ain't
Bitch, I've put up with your interruptions for how many weeks now?
it? I don't know what you're talking about. I never interrupt you.
No, you're
Look, I don't remember it, so therefore it didn't happen.
But we have like emperor type power with this website, so we can.
Indeed.
Meaning like thumbs up, thumbs down, neutral. So
Right.
my question is, are we gonna give thumbs up to everybody and play anybody and everybody that's considered in the rock genre, or are we reviewing each and every song that we play on the site?
Or we're just gonna spit
So
fat
that-
beats.
We only play what we consider to be good rock. That's my question.
Well, we all have a
where-
different opinion of what that is.
I'm only going to play, for me, what I like.
Right, no, I understand, like, when we do the solo shows, it's what we want, as long as it's covered under the licensing fee that we purchase,
Right.
whatever goes.
Right.
But with the standard radio that's going to be playing, my question is it anything and everything that's considered rock, or is it what we've listened to, reviewed, and think, hey, no, this should be on the radio?
Yeah.
The second one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, it's our site.
Honestly, I've had this discussion with Fred before, and he gives me grief about it all the time. Big Nickelback fan.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the first two albums were okay.
You'd play that as opposed to their later stuff.
Well, technically, I don't even know if I play it. But if we play everything that rocks, then you're going to get your typical.
No,
I mean,
But that's not what we don't want.
Exactly. So I'm
Right.
not.
Now, wait, can I just
lose
have a request real
viewership.
quick?
We're going to lose viewer. My argument is if we do the anything and everything, we're going to lose viewership because the quality of what we're putting out there is
It's
going
going to go down.
Well, then we're just a terrestrial radio station.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Which is what we don't want.
Right.
But here's my
That's
question.
not what we are.
And can we please do this? Please. I don't want to play Nirvana.
I play at least one song.
Which
Heart
one?
Shaped Box is the best song that band's ever played.
Okay. I can deal with that one, but there's a lot of
And I can
Nirvana.
deal with Reiki.
Yeah, okay. That was not bad either.
Yeah.
There's
I do
there's
enjoy
like
the
two or
Reiki
three-
Baja.
Cheese version of that song.
no, there's like two or three tracks from Nirvana that I don't mind.
Rape
Most of it,
me,
though-
my friend.
Most of them, though, I'll get to that later. Most of them, though,
Put
it's
on a
like
dolphin
Coco Baby, you
costume.
can't sing. You're not a
No,
talented singer.
he's not a talented
And it's
singer.
like, okay, you want to do grunge metal, that's whatever, but we really went through this whole...
My impersonation of a rape whistle.
That was just a... You know what? I'm just taking it this time because I'm not going to the other room and getting.
Just bend over.
It's going to happen right. But no, like it's one of those things where Kurt Cobain can't sing and people gobble shit up. They're like, Nirvana's the best band ever. No, he was not talented.
Hell, Dave Grohl wasn't the original drummer either.
He was not talented. Let's get back to that.
And
Why is he making money?
And he had a stomach ache and remedied that by blowing his head
And I'm
off.
sorry,
I don't get it.
Novoselic, he was a decent bass player.
Look, all I want to say is the only talent he had was.
Exactly.
You know, Novoselic was a decent bass player, but you know, I can think of 200 bass
Too
players
soon?
that were better.
No, it made me laugh because you know how like when you go to get in a car with a bunch of friends, if you call shotgun, you call the front.
Yo, I got Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain is what you call when you want to sit behind.
Well, at the same time,
Oh.
somebody at work was talking about You're So Vain.
That was written about Warren Beatty.
Right, but somebody was texting me at work with it.
More
Was it you or you?
Not me.
No, it wasn't me.
Pinkard and Bowden is a comedy
Right.
band, and they did, and I've got it on CD
Oh yeah.
called Kurt Cobain, sung to the tune of You're So Vain. And instead of dreams in my coffee, it's brains in my cornflakes. Don't shoot. They'll probably do another album without you. It was fucking hysterical. I basically.
Is that going to be covered under a licensing?
I'm going to
like
look later at the next break. I'm going to look at that because it was hysterical.
Hey, speaking of bands, though, let's talk about the Kidney Thieves.
Yes,
Oh
they're
my
our latest followers on Twitter. It was great. I saw that.
Dude.
I got an email notification. They're following. I was like,
Usually I get those emails from Twitter and it's like so-and-so, whatever, and I'm like, whatever, this is fucking stupid. And then I see Kidney Thieves?
Yeah.
I immediately went and looked it up and I was like, this is awesome.
I was so excited.
And
I was telling Analog Kids, I can't tell you how many times I played their album Zero Space when I was a teenager.
Zero Space was a great album.
Fucking
I
love
love
that album.
Taxi Cab Inside. That was a great song.
Yeah.
The video was pretty good. It was just one of those bands where I actually stumbled across by accident. Like I said, if I'm looking for new music, I'll look up an album I already have on Amazon, and then
It'll say you like this, you like
people
that.
bought this, and when I saw the Kidney Thieves, I'm like, well, okay, let's give them a shot. So I looked them up on YouTube, and I was like, sweet, these guys are actually pretty good. So I was able to actually get some of their music and loved it, and I was like, okay, these guys are awesome.
Did they really only release the 2 albums in the EP?
There was 2 albums and an EP that I'm.
Okay. I mean, they're all awesome. I recommend both albums and the EP. I recommend all of it, but I just was curious if they put it, because like I said, I think Zero Space was the last actual album, and I had that when I was a teenager, so we're looking at about almost a decade.
Yeah.
And they're following us, huh?
I know. Isn't that
That's
so
pretty
exciting?
cool.
I'm so excited. The only way I could be more excited is if some of my German bands started following
Now,
us.
did they just actually find us randomly, or did somebody?
They had to.
Oh, cool. We should send them an email back. Just be like, yo, we love your stuff. 24 beating. We 24 beating while we listen to your shit.
29 songs, so pretty much most of their albums we could play,
Excellent.
Awesome.
including Taxi Cab Inside.
Hell yeah. Is Pretty on there?
I'm pretty. I'm so pretty. I'm pretty.
Yes, Pretty's on here, Glitter's on here, Zero Space, Feathers, Creature,
Oh, Feathers is a good song.
Placebo's on here as well, so yeah, just about everything they've ever released. They're a great band. I recommend S&M and Love Songs on here as well.
Oh, yeah.
Take a Train, which I also thought was great, was the fact that we can also play just about everything from Light, Sex, and Death.
I actually haven't heard any of the Life Sex.
You said who was the drunk guy? I gave him. I gave you. I'll let you listen to this.
Steven.
They only did the one
Wait,
album.
I thought he said seis, which is 6 in Spanish.
I like Steven. It's the clean version.
7 is
Yes.
the clean
White
version of
Bullets on
sex.
here,
Is
Before I'm Dead. Yeah, so a lot of their stuff is actually on here. I recommend anybody going out and giving them a spin. They're actually
What just
great
happened?
band.
I need to hear. I need somebody to make a song or make a movie. Maybe make a song first and then make a movie based off the song called The Nipple Smasher. I don't know why that just popped in my head, but I thought it would be fantastic. It would be a horror movie. And like people in the hospital with bleeding nipples.
Avenger versus the Nipple Smasher. Wow.
The Nipple Smasher.
You just startled the kitten with that voice.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up.
a pussy.
I mean, I'm a big Suicidal Tendencies fan. Some of his lyrics are going
I'm
It's
not
like the best
familiar
you
with
got.
them.
Linkin Park has got. That's the band that has like just the most retarded lyrics in their newer stuff. But like the last 2 or 3 albums they put out, like really guys.
Oh, they're still releasing music?
There was.
Yeah, it
Linkin
sucks.
Yes,
No,
Linkin Park's
I-
still releasing.
Okay, I didn't know.
Their first album was good.
The first album was
Meteor.
okay.
Well, okay, I'm talking about in comparison to their stuff. Like, here's the Linkin Park timeline. Does it fall under good or bad? First album, good. Second album, good. Reanimation was pretty good.
Was that the remix album?
Yeah, before the Jay-Z.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, there's
When they started
Reanimation.
bringing rap artists into it. I
Yeah, and then there was the Jay-Z Reanimation of Meteora, and I was just like, hey, get out of here. And then there was, whatever the other one was, Minutes of Midnight, but it was just like a wad of crap afterwards. So in comparison with all their stuff, their first 2 albums were the best, and then they just changed their whole fucking music style. Completely
I guess
changed
the
it.
reason why I didn't realize that they were still releasing music is because after they did the Jay-Z album, I guess I just thought that they went more of a rap hip hop direction.
It
as
seems like
opposed to a
no.
rap
They
direction.
went new metal. You kidding me? That's called new metal.
Well, it's like
That's just that to me. That's not even.
It's not even.
Giving them a label, like the label new metal to me isn't an actual music genre. You're just putting a name to it so it sounds quote unquote cool so all the little kids will buy your
It used
music.
to be called,
It's a marketing tool. It's nothing of substance.
Suicidal Tendencies was the band that started the new metal genre, but it wasn't called new metal back then. It was called hard funk metal.
Right.
And to give it more of well, like you said, a more of a distinctive label, they referred to it as new metal. And basically, what Limp Bizkit had done was take the music where Suicidal Tendencies left off.
Right.
Heavily biscuit.
Oh, no.
When you have
Batter.
your own lyricists and your own singer writing the rap, I have a little bit more respect for you than inviting a guest to actually write the stuff for you and appear on all the fucking songs of the album. The Limp Bizkit always had a guest rapper, I think, since the second album. Method Man was on one of them. They actually had Snoop Dogg on another.
That's right. Take me way back.
Couple. So like on one song.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not big into rap. The way that DJ Lethal is just awesome with
I
what
do
he
have
does.
to admit that Limp Bizkit, I'm not a big fan of Limp Bizkit, but I have to give them props when they do have that guest artist. It was always done very well to where the style of the music didn't really get warped in the process of bringing in an artist that isn't technically rock.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, John Otto, he is a machine behind the drums. He is a nasty drummer.
Speaking of machines, man, I'm a little upset.
What?
Is this a living tissue of our endoskeleton joke?
Yeah, one of our favorite local drummers, we thought he was...
We thought he was from the future.
Yeah, endoskeleton with living tissue over it, and he couldn't make the latest Scumfest because he fractured his wrist.
Oh.
That sucks.
It does suck, but it kind of like, brought us down. I'm like, oh, it's just as human as everybody else.
That's some bullshit.
Wait. Is it?
Maybe
did they just say it was a fractured wrist when really what they meant was he damaged the gears?
He damaged the servos?
Yeah.
Actually, no, I stand corrected. He actually fractured his hand.
I mean, you got gears in your hand.
I fractured my hand. Grab my hand. Ah, not that one. That's my bad one. That hurts. Don't grab that hand.
Dominoes. How long?
It scared the child away.
Until the next time.
But
This
what were we
summer,
talking
see
about?
We were talking about
you've
bands and
never
how some
seen
of
it
the lyrics
before,
suck.
and hope never to see
With
it
clothes
again.
on.
There
Yeah.
was something when you were talking about suicide.
Gelatinous
I have to
everywhere.
laugh. When I used to watch actual, like TV and VH1 and all that crap, when they would have those shows, because I enjoy some of the death metal artists and music. I'm not a big fan of screaming, so I kind of I'll love the music, but I'm not a big fan of being yelled at. If I wanted to be yelled at, I'd call up my mother. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was about to say that, and you beat me to it.
If I really want to be screamed at for 5 minutes, I'll just call my mother and piss her off. I mean, that's just...
Giselle, what the fuck?
I love metal, but I hate screaming and I hate the grunts. I hate the grunts.
What I do like is usually, sometimes, those bands that have the screaming vocalists, they usually have some bitchin' riffs, in the beginning and in the middle of the song. You're this is awesome. And then they start singing, you're like, oh, dude, shut
Yeah,
up.
and then they start yelling, and you're just like, really?
I'm sorry, I think I just stepped on
You
the
and I
track.
are on the same page.
Is that what they call it?
I wish they would actually have instrumental
Yeah.
versions of those albums.
Well, that's what they have. They have there's that band, Riot, which I'm really hoping they get back to me. I sent that email off, 6 months ago, and they haven't replied to it. But
You should send them a follow-up one in December, dude, we're about to launch.
Yeah.
You gonna get back to me or not, bitch?
It's metal music with some slight orchestral bits in there, not a whole lot, but it's
Interesting.
all instrumental.
Speaking of which, did you get a chance to listen to Nightmare?
No, I haven't.
Nightmare.
It's a German band. It's actually Nachme. I was telling her that she goes, "What's it sound like?" And I was like, "It is rave metal."
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
Rave metal. I'm going. It was
I
like
do love
Daft
some
Punk
techno.
decided to go metal.
I do love some techno and I do love some metal, so I am intrigued by
I'm intrigued.
I'm kind of scared at the same time.
Yeah.
Because just, looking at, like we were talking about with American bands, it can go very bad.
It's because America.
But,
dumb.
But no, what I was trying to say
we are the best people ever.
America, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. But
Fuck
no.
yeah.
What,
Fuck yeah. Okay.
What was it again? The antler thing? I'm still reacting.
ass antlers?
Ass antlers.
He's a little slow. And all of a sudden the gears are...
Oh, yeah.
Hi, baby.
They were like, I get it now.
Hi, baby.
But no, like
Wanna see my ass
VH1 and
antlers?
I don't think
Yeah,
MTV really does this because MTV is just reality shows. But VH1
Exactly.
used to have like educational, like hour-long shows, and one of them was like the history of metal.
Yeah.
It
I
had
saw
all
that.
the
Yeah, I
different
was like,
genres and everything.
Jesus, it was like 6 days
And
long.
I know. But like if you watch the beginning actually made sense. There was actual,
Nipples.
legitimate
Nipples.
genres, labels, those kind of things. But you notice, or at least I felt like, the closer you got to contemporary music, the more just fucking sporadic and just out there. Like they just will, if you don't fit into a standard genre, as opposed to expanding the definition of the genre, they just gave it another name.
And what's really messed up is that it was a 1969 phrase from a rock band that coined the term heavy metal.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf.
You're talking about, yes. And Born to be Wild.
Yeah, I like
Heavy
smoking lightning.
metal thunder.
I like smoking lightning, heavy metal thunder.
Right.
And it was a great lyric, and then all of a sudden, well, that's what we're going to name, bands that are. I mean, they all talk about how Black Sabbath is the godfather of heavy metal. Okay, but also people are like, well, Led Zeppelin's heavy metal. Like, no, they're hard rock.
And we've had that conversation
Yeah.
before, but Jimmy will go, oh, no.
Well, it's like, what was it, Scott Ian from Anthrax in that anthology we're talking about, they talk about Priest and Maiden. And he says, Priest was great, and then all of a sudden there's this new band coming around, so I went to go, I kept hearing about the buzz, so I went to go see him, and he's talking about Maiden, and he goes, who are these guys? They sound like Priest, but evil. And I'm like, Scott Ian said that about Maiden? That is like one of the greatest compliments you could ever have.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't really know how I feel about Scott Ian being involved in so many VH1, whatever. Like, I think it's awesome, like, especially with the history of rock, whatever they did. I think that's awesome. But to be on, like, I Love the 70s, or and
Chris Jericho.
it started off with I Love the 80s, and that was all fun and good, and then they had to do all of the different fucking decades because they just, it was so popular.
Look at John, the lead singer of Anthrax. He does Burger King commercials.
I mean, yeah, so it's like, it's kind of that weird.
Yeah, and even Scott's like, y'all can poke fun at him all you want, but the fuckers get paid.
That's what I'm kind of like,
So,
do I get upset? Do I call them, do I just call them a sellout? Or am I just kind of like, well, if you're going to make the man work for you, you might as well beat him at their own fucking game.
It's kind of like, I noticed certain voices. I heard John Goodman in a couple commercials. The latest iPad commercial is Peter Coyote. And I'm listening to it going, why is Peter Coyote doing iPad commercials? Okay. Yeah, exactly. So you start noticing that, I heard Kiefer Sutherland in a couple commercials. I want to say one was a Ford commercial. Dennis Leary does the Ford commercials.
Oh, hell.
Mike Rowe
he
from
was.
Dirty Jobs is Ford commercial.
Anthony Hopkins has, there's all kinds of that going on, and they do it in part because the people that are selling the product do it because that's a very well-known voice. Everybody knows who he is.
What's his name? Oh, shit.
But I mean, like, if Iron Maiden in the UK decided to start doing, commercials for that Drake pussy, I mean, would you be upset or would you think it'd be awesome?
That depends. If the product is available in the United States and I don't have to chop off an arm and a leg, then it would be epically baller. If it's only available in England, fuck you.
But in previous shows, you said that the pussy drink was only available in England.
Yes, I did.
That's why we had to have Cal send it to us.
Right.
So
which he obviously has not been doing.
Right, because he's
having some. He's having some pussy.
No, the pussy's having him.
Yeah.
Oh, the pussy's having him.
Yes.
Guys, hey, get your ass out of here! I'll be right there, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I just like the
Guys,
say,
get your niggas off the blow! Get your niggas off the blow! I'll do it in a minute, Chris. I'm a little busy. Stop wanking it! I'm not wanking it, Chris. Now you're wanking it! Stop wanking it! It's running out of
He's over there wanking.
What?
He's spanking the bald man then.
Did he bring some
I wonder,
salt?
like, wait, no, because he
Please,
said...
I'm a kid.
Release the Kraken!
Oh.
Because Nameless just said the line, drop your, or clean your, what is it?
Clean your knickers off the floor.
Is that like British rap lyrics? Clean your knickers off the floor?
Yeah. So clean your knickers off the floor, keep your room nice and clean so your mom don't get sore. Yeah. There we go. Now brush your teeth, all three of them. There we go, I'm doing it again. Dropping fat rhymes, that's what I do. Now everybody watch out, because I've really got to poo.
And screw you.
When you're done, wash your hands.
Wash your hands then.
That's British hardcore rap right there. Oh, he's telling me what to do. Yeah, it's a lifestyle. Lifestyle. If you're going to have a kid, you're going to pay for it. Don't be a deadbeat dad or a bad father. F-A-R-T-H-E-R.
Yeah.
I think
Don't spell it for
what
you.
we ought to do
What?
is pull up our roots
Pull up our pen.
Damn you! I was gonna say that.
and move to England.
Ew, why?
Oh God, what?
You're saying leave the greatest country in the known
If I'm
universe?
gonna move anywhere, it's either it's gonna be Germany. I'm sorry.
We move to Calgary.
Alberta?
Yes.
That's in Canada.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying we move to Calgary.
Canadians are scary.
And then we laugh at Cal because
We're in Canada.
Yeah,
That doesn't make any sense.
England popped out when I
Interruption.
meant Canada.
they popped
I didn't know moths could pop out.
England popped out. Oh.
It popped right out of there. I don't know how. I'll let it
That's how a
stretch
bug pops out.
What?
Actually, we can't move to England. We move to Cambridge. And we
Dude, if
create
we
our
go
own-
anywhere near England, we're gonna get beat up.
No, and we can create
Yeah,
a football team.
No, we're just going to watch out for his drive-by arguments.
Cambridge.
Newcastle radio! I disagree! That was a Family Guy skit, by the way. I don't know if anybody caught that.
No.
Mr. Kitty, what's up?
I'm sorry. I thought that was, you know.
Disappear.
I caught it.
Disappear. So we can introduce ice cold sweet tea.
Do you think the British will like the ice cold sweet tea?
When they say it's tea time at 4 o'clock, we'll crack a beer. Just to be different. So I can be a saucy, thick American.
Indeed.
By the way, talking about.
I mean, you want to be a thick American? Like, thick? Like, we're going to pay you thick?
Mm-hmm.
You want to have some
No,
back to you? Got back. Oh, it's back in the kitty!
You know, they can't see the kitties, so when he just said something about got back and then smacking the kitty, they probably think that he's smacking your ass and
I will
calling
be
your
later,
ass kitty.
but we say that.
You were going to rape him first.
You get your turn. Take your number. Wait in line.
Uh-huh.
Calvi, are you beating the purple-headed yogurt slinger?
But no. So, Led Zeppelin, we've talked about this before, about how was the producer?
The producer.
Yeah.
Specifically wanted them to spell their name wrong. So, a
Incorrect.
So
quote...
the stupid Americans would get it.
No,
Incorrect,
thick
yes.
Americans.
Incorrectly, so that us thick Americans wouldn't call them Led Zeppelin.
Right.
That's right.
But spelling it wrong, or spelling it incorrectly, doesn't make it better. It makes you look fucking stupid.
Def Leppard.
I mean, and then you got that whole thing where they don't want to call it lead, as in, you know, leading somebody along, but led, L-E-D, is that not the past tense of lead?
Yeah.
So, fucking douchebag, that didn't change anything.
But no. Hang on.
Well, at the same time, back when that band came out, it made it unique.
Past
But
tense
if you think about it,
of the verb you didn't want them to say.
No. But if you think about it, he future-proofed the band because look, if there was a kid that read Led Zeppelin, you know, the way it's supposed to be spelled, they would call it Lead Zeppelin. So he was actually future-proofing for us, thick Americans. I mean, come on,
What's about the
poems I have wrote.
There's also
Exactly.
thick Britons, I mean, how does he know?
No, I am right.
Aluminium.
Aluminium, then.
Wow.
What the fuck is that?
What is it?
This used to be our old
Key fob.
key fob
Huh?
for our old building.
Oh.
That's what I used to get in my apartment.
Yeah.
We now have
Oh,
fancy
really?
badges.
But no, I mean,
Hey,
look
go
at Def
ahead.
Leppard, same thing. It was supposed to stand out. It was supposed to be different.
Yeah, but Def Leppard stood out and tried to be different in the whole, let's have fun, be a party band, as opposed to, something like Led Zeppelin,
Ah,
where
you
they're
dirty
kind of
motherfucker.
like, we're making intelligent rock and listen to these awesome. So it's kind of like the producer just kind of basically making them look stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time shooting his own foot off, because he just did the past tense of the verb they don't want
I'm
to
sorry, I
say.
pictured Kurt Cobain just
Okay,
missing the
so-
first time.
So it would. So
I'm
in
just
your
saying, if you're going
argument,
to be a douchebag and say something like, blah, 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 thick American's saying it wrong, and then you do the past tense of the verb you don't want people to say, how stupid are you?
true, but in using your logic and argument, then why aren't you bashing Dave Mustaine, the lead singer of Megadeth?
But no, going back to what you're saying, yeah, Megadeth spelled wrong, fucking stupid. I don't care how baller your music is,
It makes them distinctive.
it makes them look retarded.
Have you seen some of the names of bands that are actually spelled correctly that I'm going, why? Casey and the Sunshine Band. Who gives a fuck?
Wait. Did you say? No. Did you just say?
Period.
Did you just say Casey and the Sunshine?
No, I'm not saying that to spell a band correctly that makes it intelligent. There are a lot of fucking stupid names. I'm not saying that in order to the only criteria for looking stupid is spelling your name wrong. I'm just saying if you want to come off as an intelligent band, spelling your name wrong doesn't help you. That's just my argument. Is if you want to come off as an intelligent band and you spell your name
In a
wrong,
world where bands
You don't
want to
look
be
very
looked at as intelligent and they spell their names wrong,
we just had a whole big conversation about
one woman will
the
interrupt you.
bastardization of the English language and how it gives you an aneurysm or embolism or whatever, all different kinds of medical issues. But all of a sudden I bring it to music and I talk about the band's name and all of a sudden you get all like, oh!
No, I'm trying to play devil's advocate.
In a world where is
You live to
devil's
play
advocate.
You're
devil's
not supposed to call him that. You're supposed to call him Analog Kid, you thick American, you.
In a world
Yeah.
where my sister is a bitch. Oh wait, we're leaving that one around now. In a world where she's not a bitch.
It doesn't exist.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Indeed, as you were.
Ultimate reality.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry, we were talking about dumb shit, so I thought I'd throw that one out there.
Then again, I mean, talk about dumb shit. There's songs that don't even have words in the title, such as that stupid Crash Test Dummies song.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's what I love about a metal song, dude.
Oh, don't
Yeah,
get me
that's
started
the title of the song.
No,
No,
they can't even fucking write a fucking chorus. They just have to fucking make noises at you for 2 fucking... No.
I'm landing aircraft right now because I need to say this. If you notice, all good metal songs, the title of the song is in the chorus at least 40 times before the song's over. Master! Master! Master of puppets, pulling your strings. What? Master. I mean, dude, the word master pops up out of the shadows. Iron Maiden. Oh, number of the beast. Come on.
It's part of the chorus. What are you bitching about?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what a metal song is.
Okay. Well, then again, in his better half's logic that she hates Pink Floyd because the title of the song is like one of the first 5 words.
Like, you know,
That's not a good enough reason to hate Pink Floyd.
look, all I gotta say to that is this. I was gonna go up to the mic and I was like, you know what? No, I'll just
You
let
just
that.
didn't walk.
No, because
walk
I didn't want
that
them. I didn't want them to get all of it because they don't deserve it.
But no, that is. You'll see it in pop songs too, where they fucking
Pop
they
songs.
They,
Nerves.
they can't even fucking write a goddamn chorus. They just have to fucking make noises at you for 30
And then
seconds.
the
Like,
shit hits the
Jesus
fan.
fucking Christ! If you're gonna call yourself a songwriter, fucking write a goddamn song all the way through, beginning to end. Don't just fucking be like, oh well, I don't really know what to put here, so I'm just gonna make stupid noises at you. Like, fuck you! Beyonce, I'm calling you out. Stupid fucking, was it the Single Ladies song? Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's like, what was it? I heard like I was talking to, I don't remember who I was talking to. I think it's a Katy Perry song. Where,
I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It.
no, it's the latest one, that last Friday night, where they talked about we went bar hopping and then we went skinny dipping in the dark and then we had a menage a trois.
Although I really would say I wouldn't mind seeing her naked. That's all I'm going to say.
Who?
Katy Perry.
I'd say if I have to look at one of them naked, I'd be so.
I get so irritated.
That's all I'm saying. I
get
don't
so
think
irritated
they care for
going
Katy Perry.
around town, going in my wife's car because every 15 minutes that new Adele song keeps playing.
Dude, there's that. Have you listened to like? Okay, here's the thing. I was listening to some Creedence in the car with my mother.
No way.
And then we were talking about what bullshit is out on the radios nowadays. So I put on a Kesha song. Yeah, we literally got about 15, 20 seconds to the song. She goes, "Turn this off. This is just fucking disgusting."
Oh yeah.
We're going to the club. I'm gonna get drunk. And it's like, yeah, you're probably also gonna have sex with about 6 other guys before the night's up. So why do I care? Why don't you go fuck off? All right, you can't sing. That's for damn sure.
It's like a local radio station out here just recently said that if we think that the most epic nerd concert to ever go to is was Rush, Iron Maiden, and something else.
Get out of here.
And I said, well, and so I replied back on Facebook. I said, so when I saw Rush in Dream Theater, that made me an uber nerd.
Dude, some DT, dude.
It's just.
I don't mind if they talk about sci-fi stuff. I mean, look at some of Argent's stuff. Star One, all about sci-fi. They did a song about Doom. It's called Sandrider. It was great.
To me, they're saying that those bands are quote-unquote nerd rock because they're not stupid fucking lyrics.
Well, yeah, again, going back to Iced Earth, they had an album come out called Horror Show. Fucking awesome. They did Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They did Frankenstein.
The Mummy's Curse or Mummy, something about Mummy. Imhotep.
Yes. Yeah, there was that one on there. I mean, yeah, Phantom of the Opera, which was a duet between Matt Barlow, who was just, oh! And he's not with the band anymore, which upsets me. But, yeah, I was actually, I got to see Barlow live, though, and he is a sack master.
He's a what?
He is a sack master.
Legendary! He's legendary!
What is a sack master?
A master of the sack.
Ah.
He is the master of the sack. He is what all sacks report to. You want me to snap you like a twig? Hang on. Before we go, can you just rant about something really quick? I need to do this.
No.
Just rant about how I want you to rant, please.
No, you have the.
Just do it. Just do it.
Stupid fucking violin out.
No, I don't. Please, I promise.
Ambulance?
No, it's not. I promise.
What is it?
Just rant. I can't ruin it for radio listening, Alan.
I can't just randomly rant. Give me something.
I heard that you really like some of that new music that's coming out with all those bad lyrics. Why don't we talk about that real quick?
I just.
No, I didn't hear any of that. I don't remember it.
Moment's gone.
You're totally ruining this for me.
I'm sorry, but we're at 120.
I don't care.
Ponchos.
It's not like Cal's listening to it.
Ponchos.
Ponchos are creepy. That's all I gotta say about that. Dirty ponchos are even creepier than
What's a
regular
dirty poncho?
They're disgusting and creepy.
No, what is it?
The stupid thing that you wear.
Oh, like one of those. I thought it was like a sex term or something.
No.
Well, yes, but not in this context. Well, kind of, sort of, depending on the poncho that's following you.
No, I will rant about this though. If you are in the backseat of my car and you can't shut your fucking mouth. No, if you can't shut your fucking mouth and therefore I cannot drive correctly, don't get mad at me. Shut your fucking mouth. Random thing. Yeah, somebody was in the backseat of my car and I almost had an accident because they didn't shut their fat fucking mouth. And then they got all mad at me, like, well, you weren't being a fucking distraction in my backseat, and I should shut the fuck up.
Alright, dude, the song's over. You can stop ranting now.
Get out of my car!
Not like this!
Get out of the car. I'm not stopping. Just tuck and roll.
I know. I was about to pull, my mother. Was it my mother? Was it mom or was it? No, it was grandma. My grandmother actually pushed my uncle. Tried to push my uncle out of a moving car.
Yeah. Well, he was being a smartass. She fucking reached over, opened the door, and started kicking him out.
Under the seatbelt, I think too.
I don't mess with that old woman.
No.
We'll be back.
We'll be right
We'll
back.
be back after these messages.
Well, that's right, buddy.
From my ass.
We're back.
And welcome to the Cal Show, where we talk about Cal all day, every day.
Oh, I thought you were going to say welcome to the Cal Show where we just act like a bunch of muffs.
He's the Calvin.
No. What I was going to say was welcome to the Cal Show, and then we're just not going to say anything.
I was going to say, we just leave for another month and they'll come back.
Yeah. But it's still recording.
And he'll still be 2 months behind.
Kind of like I like the idea with the Guns, when we talked about doing a Guns N' Roses spotlight show. And Nameless said, "Can we just start it and just come in whenever we feel like it?"
Exactly.
So we are back.
Indeed, we are.
Did we have other stuff to
I want
talk about
Special
today?
Mention. I am so hungry.
I don't want to dwell on it.
Bruce Willis.
On what?
I don't want to dwell on it. I just want to make mention
Huh?
On my ass.
that we are recording on the 10th anniversary.
Of 9/11.
But isn't it 9/12?
No, it's not 11.
2001.
No. What is today's date?
9/11.
2012.
Oh,
Previously known, before 2001, it was
No,
known
no,
as the
it's-
11th of September.
I thought today was the. I got confused on the day. Anyways,
I don't
do you
want
want?
to-
Problem.
You want? Well, do you want Nutella then?
What is it?
Nutella,
The hell's... Oh. Yeah, why not?
hazelnut, spare but skim milk and cocoa.
Anyway, all I wanted to say was we're still here.
We are.
All the jihadists can kiss my dick, and yes, it tastes like bacon. That's all I want to say.
Well, you did.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Alrighty then.
So we moving along.
Yeah.
We are.
And I take it the pork ribs are.
Yes, our pork ribs are currently cooking in the crock pot. We have pork, hot
My
dogs,
pork's cooking in the crock pot.
fucking pork, and more pork.
Yes.
Porkins?
I can hold on!
That's how it died. I think he actually had a heart attack and just...
Who? Porkman?
Porkins, yeah.
He overexerted himself by holding it, and therefore he had a heart attack. He held it so hard he triggered a cardiac arrest.
He overexerted himself by holding it.
Yes.
And too bad we can't be cracking open a beer with Persian.
Mhm.
What?
Porkins?
Porkins is in KFC.
Now, come on. You can say it.
General John J. Pershing,
Yeah.
John J. Jingleheimer?
also known as Black Jack.
Boy, dude.
He's the man. Let's just put it that way.
Is he the man?
Does he get manly?
I'm pretty sure I'm the man.
I'm all up in
In
it.
a fight between Nameless and that man.
Who is
General-
more man? Who
General-
has too much man?
General John Pershing was stationed
Oh,
out in
do
the
you even have
Philippines.
chest hair?
Shut up!
Interruption!
He was stationed out in the Philippines, and there was some.
Philopines?
There was some.
Philopines.
I would say
With the Filipino people?
certain group of individuals that kept messing with some
Philopinized.
villages outside the fort.
He is not going to let you finish the sentence.
What's
So
that?
he sent out a recon team. They captured him, and then what he did was that in form of punishment, he took all but one, lined them up on the execution posts, dug a trench in front of the posts, had the cook slaughter a couple pigs, gut them and disembowel them, and threw them into the ditch, shot the ones that were tied to the posts so the bodies would fall into the ditch on top of the pigs, and let the one guy go. As a warning of, please stop fucking with me.
Yeah.
That is the man.
Do you think he rode his sack to work every day?
Probably.
Hi, I'm riding my sack right now.
But it made a point because it played on people's fears and religious structure, belief structure, whatever, and there really wasn't anything going on with an American post up until 10 years ago.
There's all, lore like that gets repeated and repeated, just like there was a story after the Iranian hostage crisis, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but
During the Carter administration?
yeah, that the Russians didn't want to have a hostage scenario, and that apparently they had one developing, so they found someone of Iranian extraction, killed him, chopped his head off, and stuck his dick in his mouth and threw that on the street and said, "Next." Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but it sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
But or at least it sounds so Hollywood action epic like.
Yes.
in that regard.
Speaking of, and this is also going back to what we were talking about earlier about sentence structure and bad grammar. People were telling me that in school they're teaching that World War II was Germany's fault.
Yes.
Oh my
Both
God.
World War I and World War II, according to modern schools, is Germany's fault, but technically it was France for both wars.
No, not
No,
technically.
I have
it's
had
what?
Yes.
I have had this pet peeve about the way that they teach World War I and World War II in schools since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Okay? Seriously. It's
What's
ridiculous.
education?
They literally... What I found so fascinating, which was my high school in particular, they focused so much on Mussolini's rise to power. And when it came to Hitler, they didn't really talk about how Hitler came to power. They just made it seem like Germany was like, oh, you got this great idea about killing Jews? Come on in.
Yeah, that's not
And
what
then they
happened.
focus more about the horrors of the Holocaust. And I'm like, that's not how it goes.
That's not what it was about.
Exactly.
Not only that, but
That's
Hitler
not-
was not mentally.
Well,
Yeah, he had Parkinson's.
Yeah.
They
So his
just
ass was
came out with
tripping
that.
balls.
Yeah.
indeed.
I mean, it irritates me to no end because that's where a lot of the stereotypes, the negative stereotypes about Germany and Germans, and probably why German lyrics are not really accepted in this country, is because of the ignorant teachings about these wars.
Yep.
So all our radio listener fans, go look it up. France assassinated a German diplomat in Austria. That's what started World War One.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go look it up.
And then World War II was because France was sitting there and they were like, oh, you can't have a military, you pay us money.
We're going
and
to
we
change the
can...
borders.
Yeah, that's just, fuck off.
Germany
France.
had
We're
enough.
going to
Why
completely
don't you
break
put
your
Microsoft up
economy.
in his
Yeah.
mouth and stop
What
crying?
is that? What is?
It was the Treaty of Versailles.
Yeah.
I was going to say, was it the story of basically people rolling wheelbarrows of Deutschmarks?
Yeah.
Was it to buy? I think it was to buy bread. To buy a loaf of bread, you
Because
had to have a
inflation was
wheel.
so bad.
Because they
There were-
inflated
yeah.
the economy so fucking bad. They had a wheelbarrow.
There were
of
people
Deutschmarks.
talking about
right
burning the
before World War
wheelbarrows.
II was
it
our
was worse.
depression. Right before World War II was our
Right.
depression because of World War One.
Yeah.
So a lot of countries owed us money for helping them out in World War One.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why Germany was so bad is because they owed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When it should have been the French who owed.
I'm not saying
Well,
that
this is
the
big
events
$8,000.
of either war and the Holocaust are in any way, not horrible.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the
If you're going to get
ignorance.
history right, get it
If you're
right.
going to study
Yeah.
history, fucking study it right.
Well,
I mean,
that's-
but you can make an argument like ancient Greece.
Yeah.
They actually they actually tweaked their own history and their own records. I mean, we're all going to do that, but
by those who conquer.
you're creating tension and ridiculous hatred towards people because of how you're ignorantly teaching history.
Exactly.
And I don't agree with that
Well, that's
aspect
why
of it.
one of the
Teach
things
everything or teach nothing.
One of the things they're teaching in school now is that the Civil War, the American Civil War, was
Oh,
fought about slavery, which it was
Oh my
not.
God,
No.
no.
It was fought about states'
Right.
rights, and
Yes.
slavery was one of those states' rights.
Yes.
But it didn't start
Slavery
over
was
slavery.
kind of,
No.
think of it like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
pretty
saying?
much. That's pretty much what made it escalate to what it was, but
Yeah.
that's not how it started. And so everybody's like, so they're teaching them that in school that it was fought because of slavery. I'm like, bullshit! Slavery was common practice on every major conquering country in known history. We were just one of the few that decided to say, you know what, we're done with it, let's stop doing it.
Well, we were a country that basically said everybody's equal, and quite obviously women were not, and quite obviously we had, it's, in my humble opinion,
I'm just looking at Analog Kid's face.
yeah, no, but in my humble opinion, being a patriot isn't going rah, rah, rah about every fucking thing this country does. It's questioning it when it's wrong and trying to fix it. That's being patriotic. So getting history wrong is unpatriotic.
Right. But I also have a problem with PC. Nobody's created equal. It's a nice sentiment that we're all created equal. Bullshit. Women make better fighter pilots than men.
Really?
Really?
Yes, they can take the G-forces better. That's a known scientific fact. So they're better pilots. So if they are better, they're better
What
pilots.
physically makes them? I'm just curious.
The way their bodies are structured.
Huh. Is it because they have I'm assuming there's less to push on? Is that?
What's denser? What's less dense than muscle?
Titties!
Fat.
Oh, yeah.
Fat. Fat can absorb the G-forces a lot better. Well, women have been bred to be less muscular than men because of the way men were bred.
Gotcha.
So when you have something that can resist, it puts pressure on the body. Well, if you have something that doesn't resist as well,
Titties.
Titties. And it's not just the titties.
No, it's not. It's all types of body
Right.
parts. But
about
titties in this, it just sounds more funnier. If
Right.
we say
But
titties.
you also have a higher threshold of pain.
As opposed to just...
Women give birth.
Yeah.
Men wouldn't. Even if they had the plumbing, they couldn't.
Yeah,
because
thank God
we're not bred to have a high threshold of pain. So to sit there and say, well, everybody's created equal is bullshit. Nobody's created equal. Women can do things men can't. Men can do things women can't. And vice versa, and so on ad infinitum. I'm just saying that to sit there and say, well, he's going to get this job because we're all equal is bullshit.
That's like that. Oh, this is going.
That's why you have teachers and that's why you have students. That's why you have business managers and you have employees.
But the problem now is everybody's trying to be, not to dip too heavily into this, but everyone's trying to be so politically correct where they say, you know, we need to hire this person because they're of a different ethnicity.
Affirmative action.
Black or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where, well, now you're, and this is nothing against a specific race, but you're diluting the workplace because you're hiring this person not because they're qualified, but because they're racially qualified.
I'll give you another example.
That's how the business is responding.
I'll give you another example.
They all get tax incentives.
If we are all created equal, why is Carl Lewis one of the fastest men on the planet? Why do we have the Olympics? If everybody's created equal, why do we have the Olympics? Because it shows that there are people who are actually better.
Yeah.
Carl Lewis is a African American long distance runner.
Oh,
one of the fastest, short distance. I'm sorry, one of the fastest.
Well, and
men
back in
on
the
planet.
30s, when speaking of Hitler, back in the 30s when they had the Olympics, they were trotting out their white boy master race, and who won
Was
an
white man.
American black man. And so, you know, that kind of pissed their
They beat us in
white
3 or 4
master
games.
race
By the
down
way-
the toilet, didn't it?
By the way, this is something else they don't teach in school. This is actual fact. Look it up. Adolf Hitler brought the Olympics back to the 20th century.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
One last thing, because you mentioned how they're fucking up teaching about the Civil War now. To say something like that about the American Civil War is like saying when we fought Britain for our independence that it wasn't over independence,
It was
over
for tea.
Yeah, see, you saw where I was going with that.
But then again, if you look at it,
I give it 5 years, and then that's
if
what
you
they
look
start
at it
teaching.
from a military point
We
of
wanted
view,
our tea so badly, we
Well,
had to kill
you
all
know,
the
but
British.
exactly, if you
And
look at-
independence was just,
But before we did that, we had to throw it into the Boston Harbor.
if you look at it from a military point
Dump
of view,
these tea
military
bags,
history, our ancestors who fought against the British in the Revolutionary War were terrorists.
Okay, but you know, when you're talking about how history is taught, like Giselle was doing and an expert job of, the... yeah, I think so.
I did?
I think so.
I was just venting because of
But that's
the
correct.
current prejudice and oppression towards Germany and
Right.
Germans in
But,
American culture.
but when you read
Holocaust is not the
American,
best
when you read
moment in
American
their
school
no,
history
it's not a glowing
books,
moment.
But
in
if you
history.
also look, a lot of the German soldiers either didn't know, like the
Not all German
basic-
soldiers were Nazis.
Yeah,
well,
but
yeah.
the thing,
ones that
yes.
first of all, you were forced basically to do that.
Yeah, it was either
So-
you're going to do it or yeah, it's going to be in the camp with them.
right,
Mm-hmm.
Or shot and put in the ditch.
right.
And then there's your family, their family, the dog, and the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
But regarding the history book thing, the American history books are just bullshit because they'll sit there and glorify manifest destiny, which was us going, yeah, Indians, fuck you, all the way across the
Yeah, I
country.
mean,
And
if
then
everybody wants to
using
talk about the
Chinese-
Holocaust, look what we did to our own native.
Exactly.
The blankets
And, well,
and everything.
look at what we've done to all sorts
No,
of
but that happened long ago, guys. That's totally different.
We were talking about this earlier that I thought it's a great point of view. Speaking of 9/11, is that we can talk about Pearl Harbor anytime we want. We make movies about it. We talk about books. They talk about comic books about Pearl Harbor. It was a horrible issue that happened, and it dragged us into World War II without dragging in what we also talked about as some so new information.
Right.
We still have a hard time without being offensive or being taboo 10 years later to make movies about 9/11 or to other than documentaries. People still find it offensive. It's been 10 years. It was tragedy. It was horrible. But you still have to talk about it because that's part of the healing process.
That's
Move
right.
on.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta.
Oliver Stone was the only one that had balls to do it.
Well, and
Oliver Stone
when we were talking
made a
about
film
this,
with Nicolas Cage.
when we were talking,
Oh yeah, that came
World
out
Trade
like right
Center.
after, didn't it?
Short, about 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah.
but when we were talking about this on the phone, and I said, well, I feel that there's certain things I'm, on a day like today, going to talk about. There's certain things I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to be hurting someone who's been through or whose family member has.
Yeah, of course.
But,
you have to be tactful.
But at the same time, I agree with you in that if you don't talk about it, you can't get it out there and deal with it and move away from it properly unless you do. And there's people.
It's almost kind of like some of the Vietnam vets. They still won't talk about
Well, yeah, like my father. And Nameless and I were talking about that issue on the way up here. And there's certain things I, would say off air as opposed to on air about that. But, that day changed us as a nation. However, when I look at it, I also say, I wonder how many 9/11s various countries in Europe have had, or Beirut has had. I mean, Beirut,
back in the
Lebanon.
80s, it was Beirut or Lebanon and left and right.
Well, but that's what I guess what I mean is, we can't get over one attack like that when they've had, I don't even know how many, and they're functioning just fine, and they don't belabor it, and they just move on.
But are they making movies left and right about every single attack that happens?
No.
I'm just curious. I mean,
No.
and it's a good point. I mean, the thing is everybody handles tragedy differently. I mean, you talked about your father not really talking about the war that he was involved in. I mean, it's like our grandfather was a doctor sent over to help clean up the concentration camps after World War II, and we have, I think, 2 stories.
Something like that.
And that's it, and he was so silent. And in that, because of his silence, that caused my father to become very interested in what the hell happened during World War II, because he was a child when it happened.
Yeah.
And then, his dad comes back, and he's completely different, and he doesn't really want to talk about it. And
My father was different as well.
But, I mean, everybody handles tragedy differently. I can understand that a concern that people might have is the bastardization or the commercialization of such a tragedy into American culture. But I also believe that completely burying it and not talking about it and making it taboo doesn't help the situation either.
True, but if you also notice...
if we ever make a 9/11 that's like the Transformers movies, where it's like...
Yeah.
I mean,
I could
if
see
it's going to be a summer blockbuster, no, that's not okay.
I was talking actually to a New Yorker at work on Friday, and he was basically telling me his memories of that day, which were fascinating. He said he, heard, well, he's 2 miles away, and he heard what happened and thought it was a small plane. Then he turns on the TV and he finds out it's not, and then he's looking, and so when he realized it was indeed something sinister and intentional, he left his building, walked outside as if to get away from the building because he thought, well, I might be next.
Right.
And saw a tank driving down the street. And this was not very long after it occurred. And then he said, the F-whatevers were flying over ridiculously. And, like a lot, not ridiculously. And he said that, and he brought it up to the present day, and he was talking about Thursday night when he was out, at a bar or whatever, went to a bar, on his way, because he can walk anywhere he really wants to go. On his way, he is seeing all these soldiers with M16s, and he hadn't seen an M16 before, but he was walking up to them going, thank you for protecting me, thank you for protecting me. But the way, and I don't have to tell you guys, but the way New Yorkers are, they're an awesome bunch of people, and they've survived this with a sense of humor, and I think that's what I want us to do as the rest of the country, is to deal with it properly and understand what happened and why it happened, and say, okay, and that's a way to prevent it, something like that from happening again if you can, but it's also a way to move on from it and go, okay, been there, done that. Now, having said that, I've been to the Vietnam Memorial before, and my father was dead set against it. Being there, he didn't like the way it was, or how it was constructed, and he thought that was just a gash in the ground until he went there. Then he was like,
Just an
over,
FYI,
then he was over
just an
something.
FYI, a lot of Vietnam vets didn't want it there because it was made by a Vietnamese person.
But the thing
Whoa.
but the thing is, when he went there, he changed his mind, and a lot of vets do.
That is a powerful place.
Yes,
It is very powerful.
I have seen big, burly dudes that would beat the fuck out of me in a dark alley, break down, and just...
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to actually go, it's...
Oh, I have.
I went in middle school, and
I've
I'm like
seen it
12
3
years old.
times.
I'm like,
I've watched
"Oh,
my
shit."
dad. My dad doesn't talk to strangers. He will there. Complete total strangers that have lost friends. They would just strike up a conversation. And we literally had to drag
Because
him away
they're
a couple
kindred
hours later. Like,
spirits.
dude, we got to go. He finds, every time he goes, he stopped going because every time he went, he found a friend that he didn't find the year before on the wall.
Yeah.
And my dad wouldn't talk about it.
But, and you were talking about how that sort of thing affects people, or wars affect people. The memory I will tell you is, we were talking about it on the way up. The first time my dad went, and he went twice, this was like 1963, so there wasn't a lot going on there, but there was a presence there, and he was one of them. And but when he came home, we went to pick him up at the Air Force Base he landed in California, and we were there for a while. And so it was dark, and my mom apparently got the message that that was his plane. And we all go up against this chain link fence, and Mom is looking at him and reacting like, of course you would after not seeing your husband for a year and what he was doing and where he was. And I'm like, where's Dad? And she points, that's your father. And I looked at my dad, and he didn't look the same. He was thinner. He had facial hair I've never seen because he didn't even grow his sideburns, except once, I think, in 1970. And
Back when it was cool.
Yeah, and I looked him in the eyes, and he had a look on his face and in his eyes I had never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
But he was never the same after that experience ever again. And that changes anybody. That sort of thing changes anybody. So I would imagine, having said that the reason people feel 9/11 so viscerally is because of feeling that kind of change. Like, we thought this before that day, now we think this, because that was a life-changing moment for a lot of people.
Yeah, when was the last sort of violence on such a large scale? When was the last time that any kind of thing like that ever actually occurred on American soil? I mean, think about
Pearl
it.
Harbor.
Right, which is not
Wildlife,
technically in
yeah.
the continental United States.
But a lot of people compare 9/11 to Pearl
Right,
Harbor.
and I'm not disputing that. I'm just
No.
saying. I mean, usually in American culture, that kind of thing, war is always just something that you read about in a newspaper. It's not something that actually happens to you on a daily basis.
Right.
And I'm just saying that I don't care if you're anti-war. I don't care if you think we should go. I don't care what you feel about the Vietnam War or any war in particular.
Mm-hmm.
You should go to the Vietnam Memorial.
Oh, indeed.
And just look at
the names.
the names. It's a
There's
black
58,000
wall.
of them.
58,000 names on a black wall. It's all it is. It's a segmented wall.
Mm-hmm.
All it has is names. There's no dates, nothing like that. It's just names. And that was such a simplistic
Which is what they have in New
ball
York right
kicker.
now.
It literally, I don't care how hard you are. You look at that and you see all those names.
Mm-hmm.
It'll kick you in the nuts.
Yeah.
It's a powerful memorial. And the
Or
only
the baby
other
maker if you don't have any nuts.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the only other memorial that that you could compare to
I like that.
is Arlington Cemetery. See
Yes.
all the crosses.
Well, and I have someone buried in that cemetery, so it was.
You look at all those crosses and you're like,
Yeah.
all I see is green and white.
Well,
Are they crosses
or-
now, or are they just the...
Some of them are
some of
crosses,
them
some
are
of them are the
crosses.
Star of David.
What I remember seeing is it was just a simplistic little headstone.
Yeah, that's what my father had.
Some of them, yes, not all.
The
of
section that I went to when I was up there was just headstones.
It's my understanding the headstones are related to your religion.
Mm-hmm.
So
they had the ones that you're familiar with seeing rows and rows of, not the crosses, but the standard marker. Yeah. They'll have like a cross on it or a Star of David.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how.
Then there are sections
and what they do is and
and
here's something that confuses people when you see them there. What the wars that they put on the tombstone aren't wars that you were necessarily in, but it was while you were in the service. These were
right.
So because my father's is listed, and I'm like, he wasn't in that. And
but he was serving in the American military at the time of that war.
Yeah, so that's why. But but when you for instance, there's in Arlington Cemetery, there's not just soldiers who have served or died there or whatever, or in different places, but there's also a fair amount of famous people that either did or didn't serve in the military that are buried there, like the Challenger, some of the Challenger and Columbia astronauts are buried there.
Your American heroes are buried there.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
G.I. Joe?
Huh? G.I. Joe, yeah. But
I'm just saying, if G.I. Joe was real, would their fallen members not be buried in Arlington Cemetery?
Exactly.
Their tagline is the American hero?
Yeah, but G.I. Joe is the actual military term.
Is it?
Yeah.
General issue.
Oh. See, here I was thinking that I was making a witty cartoon from my childhood. And
G.I. Joe is real.
Well,
G.I. Joe is real. But our G.I. Joe's not buried in Arlington Cemetery.
And you can also, when you go
there we go.
You see where the Kennedys are buried, and that's interesting because...
Oh, yeah, the flame that doesn't extinguish?
Right, and here you have this big expansive thing, and around it you see speeches and stuff, just like when you go to Lincoln.
The bronze plaques and the...
Yeah, and then there's Bobby, who you see has a cross over there, and it's like, yeah! And it's interesting in its simplicity, Bobby's, because of the grandeur of Jack's, and of course Jackie's there, John is there, and the baby that Jackie had that didn't survive, and all that stuff is all sitting there.
And if Bobby hadn't been shot, he might have been just as big as his brother.
Yeah.
That one could argue that is the reason why he was shot.
Exactly, which is what I was going to say.
Which is one of the theories is why he was shot. Plus the fact that he kept going after Hoffa.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, and then when you think of, because there are Kennedy detractors and Kennedy huge, I'm supporting them because, but their father, Joe Sr. got his start in bootleg.
Yeah.
So they don't exactly have a pristine past either.